The Death Knight. The one class that everyone loves to hate, but secretly loves to play. Because even if you have no idea how to play a Death Knight, you can still manage to pull it off. And because of that, it's really easy to macro. In this video, I'm going to show you how to play a Frost Death Knight the lazy way. But before we get into that, let's take a look at how you play one, for those who may not know. The Frost Death Knight uses runes and runic power to unleash plague, disease, and the icy cold grip of death upon anything that would stand against him. Now the rotation will vary depending on whether or not you choose to use a two-hander or dual wield. In this video, we're going to use a two-hander because the rotation is a little bit simpler and it's a lot easier to find one weapon instead of two. Your number one priority is all about maintaining your diseases. You have two diseases, Frost Fever and Blood Plague. Howling Blast will maintain Frost Fever, and Plague Strike will maintain Blood Plague, and you'll need to keep these refreshed about every 30 seconds. But you can also use Outbreak, which doesn't require runes but has a 1-minute cooldown, or you can use Unholy Blight, which works the same way. Both of these attacks refresh both diseases. Next, you're going to want to cast Soul Reaper, but only if your target is at or below 35% health. Now let's go back to Howling Blast. Every now and then, one of your other abilities will generate something called Rime. Whenever Rime procs, your Howling Blast doesn't consume any runes, so whenever you see Rime, use Howling Blast. Next in the priority is Obliterate, which you're going to want to use especially when Killing Machine procs. The only time you're not going to want to use Obliterate is when you're topped off with runic power, in which case you'll use Frost Strike instead. Frost Strike is your last attack that you'll spend all of your runic power on, so when everything else is on cooldown, use Frost Strike. And last up, we have Horn of Winter, which is a 5-minute buff that will increase your and all of your party's attacks, but you can use it when it's off cooldown because it will always generate 10 runic power. Now the Death Knight has 4 other fairly useful DPS cooldowns, but they're pretty self-explanatory, so use them as you see fit. And that's a very basic way of how you play a Frost Death Knight. Doesn't seem like it's too much to keep track of, does it? But if it still feels like it's too much for you, what if I told you that you can put all of that in one button? So if you're feeling lazy, I've got an answer for you. In order to do this, you're going to need a mod called Macro Toolkit, which can be found on Cursed. There will be a link in the description below. Now this mod is mandatory because it allows you to extend the size of your macros. So download it, create a new macro, and extend the macro. After that, you're going to want to put all this text in the macro. Relax. The text is in the description below so you can copy the macros from there. Basically, this macro is going to start off by casting your diseases, and then it's going to try to throw up every ability as it becomes available. It'll even manage some of your cooldowns like Pillar of Frost, Raised Dead, and Horn of Winter. And since this macro kind of throws out abilities at random, you should be able to use this whether you're dual wielding or you're a two-handed Frost Death Knight. Now this macro is far from perfect. It might waste a Killing Machine on a Frost Strike, you might not see Howling Blast go off right away when it should, and also it kind of completely removes the need for Obliterate and Unholy Blight because it does throw up Howling Blast a lot with the proc, and it's going to hit Plague Strike every now and then. So those aren't a part of the macro, use those as you see fit. As a matter of fact, this macro really isn't for the hardcore raiders, so while you min-maxers are sucking your teeth and flipping tables out right now, relax, this isn't for you guys. This is for the average Joe, the lazy gamer, or the visually impaired gamer like me. You might want to check this macro out when you're doing questing or maybe BGs or even LFR. That's about it. It's no substitution for the real way of playing, but it does seem to work pretty well. Now it might sacrifice a perfect rotation, but it also removes the hindrance of reaction time, and that's the theory as to why a macro like this actually does work. And so that's pretty much how I play a Frost Death Knight. So if you're interested, check it out. And if you enjoyed this video, like, favorite, and give me feedback. Thanks for watching. This is TheKephas. Have a wonderful day. Until next time.